We finally reached it, the end of this season's preview guides. Just 4 more new shows for me to look at, and let me know what I think of them. Hopefully the shows are better than the previous ones this one, but most of those shows look okay. I'm looking over my list now, and they do seem to be at a higher end of the last few episodes. But what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments what you thought, and watch the video to see what I thought, because for the last time this season, this is a 2022 winter anime preview, from a different perspective. First up today, we have a Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. An anime which has already aired this season so far, once already. Welcome to another series of how a realist hero saved a kingdom. But it's not, since the Genius Prince isn't really a realist, he's just an optimist who's really good at his job, who doesn't want to do his job. Welcome to Ween, who is a relatively annoying prince. He is super smart, but doesn't want to use his power for anything. He just wants to slack off and just live his life. You got his assistant Ninim, who is always at his side, always willing to furnish him with enough motivational mias in order to get him to do his job properly. You got the princess, who looks up to Ween being a super genius, super smart elder brother, and clearly his assistant because he's willing to bend the knee and do whatever he wants them to do. And so in this first episode, he ends up fighting off a bigger army, using his smaller army, because his smaller army is more powerful. But they haven't had any practice. But why are they so powerful? Because he trained them. And why did his other kingdom not train them? Because they're bad. And in order to try and prevent the war from escalating, he says, okay, let's try and take over this really, really powerful, well-guarded gold mine, which you're not going to take, so you're not going to accept this idea, so let's just go home and rest. They love the idea, they decide to go for it, and he takes the gold mine. So clearly this isn't so much a genius prince, it's just an optimistic prince who doesn't want to do his job, ends up doing a job anyway, just because he's coerced into it, ends up doing well, so he's called a genius. It's a fun premise. It's a fun looking show. It didn't bore me, I watched it as entertained. But there are definitely better shows of similar mould this season. The aforementioned realist hero, first and foremost. I definitely do recommend giving this one a try though. It's 100% watchable. Just not as good as it could be. You can find this one airing over at Funimation. And next up, you've got a comedy anime in the life with an ordinary guy who reincarnated into a total fantasy knockout. Get your isekai hats on, guys, because this is another isekai show. It's an isekai where the ordinary guy is reincarnated into a total fantasy knockout in another world. Although this time he's transported to another world with his best friend, a super hot, super cool, older gentleman, business guy, a handsome older man, let's call him, just randomly transported to another world by a crazy goddess who just finds someone to transport to another world to save a day, I suppose. Turns the main character into a super hot girl, a total fantasy knockout as an anime title suggests. And because both her, well, it used to be him, Hinata, and the cool older guy, we're actually the same age, just the cool older guy actually is pretty cool, all the girls always love him, so much so he's pretty much scared of the girls because they're all fighting over themselves to get him. Not the best first impression, and so he doesn't really like the girls. He'd much be happier staying with his best friend, Hinata. And because they are so aggressive and so mean to a goddess, she gives them a curse. You'll forever be attracted to the other. So these two people, these two older guys, suddenly find themselves attracted to each other. One's a super hot, total fantasy knockout, and the one's a handsome old guy. To mention, a handsome old guy's got super powerful powers in this whole world. The cute girl's actually just got normal level 1 powers. You think she being the hero is actually have all powerful powers, but I suppose that's not the comedy really. Now this is definitely a tongue-in-cheek isekai. It's not an overpowered isekai, but it's not so much an isekai about seriously fighting off a demon. It's going to be a character comedy based on boy meets girl. Girl is his former best friend boy. He doesn't really like girls, but he did like his best friend, so they're probably going to hit off. But I don't really want to hit off since they're best friends and they're both guys. Gender comedy, isekai, fish out of water comedy, gender bender comedy, that type of thing. I'd say this one's right on my street then. That fits up quite a lot of the cliches and categories which I do like watching shows like that. I found the first episode kind of fun. Be interesting to see where it goes. I'll be interested in finding out why I've got a basic Kirito clone being the butt of all jokes in the opening. That's another positive, I suppose. If you didn't want to watch this one, you can find it at Crunchyroll. And next we have another, is it isekai, is it not? It's an MMO game anime, where the anime is set in a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, where we got a main character who plays a basically Gandalf character. Super powerful summoner, one of the best sages in the world, able to lead an army of summoned creatures to fight off thousands and thousands of goblins. Now, for whatever reason, at the end of the episode, he gets transformed into a girl. No idea why. We get this random scene at the end, which I'll talk about in a bit, because that's something I do want to touch on quite heavily. But in terms of a plot, it's just introducing the world to begin with. We're not really told the plot itself, other than the fact that he turns into a girl at some point. But it does very much tongue-in-cheek throw laughable jokes at how MMORPG anime always treat themselves so seriously. These characters must be like this because they're role-playing these characters, they must be like all the time. And the first episode actually has the Gandalf guy who literally chose his character appearance because he liked a movie with an elderly bearded wizard talking about a ring. They drink themselves an energy drink, HP raising drink in game. The princely character just drinks it out of a coffee cup, just a basic off the shelf coffee cup, whereas the Gandalf guy takes his coffee, pours it into a goblet and drinks out of a golden goblet because it's more roleplay. You wouldn't see an old wizard drinking out of a Starbucks cup, would you? But that leads me to a weird thing at the end of the anime, because the last 5 to 10 minutes of the anime is all shown with no dialogue. Well, there's one line of dialogue at the very end, where you got this cute girl who's basically the wizard. You know that because she's in his robes. She wakes up as a cute girl on his robes because she's too small for robes to fit her. Dresses herself in those robes, trying to make it fit on her as they slip off. Wandering around, enjoying the world as a cute young girl. And that gets me to a weird thing, and I don't do this very much in these previews. I'm actually going to give you a video up there. There it is over there. Showing you what I'm talking about. The anime shows her taking a piss. Well, I'm assuming it's a piss. Hopefully it is. I don't want to watch that in the anime. It doesn't explicitly show her doing it. It basically just shows her squatting down in front of a flower, a very relieved look on her face, as she stands up in a very I want to stand up but not fall into this way. Yes, I understand they're showing that yes, she's getting used to her female body, but why randomly showing her pissing? Seriously, Japan, why? That aside, this is a cute end to the anime. If this is our main character going forward, and by the name of the anime I imagine it is, I'll be watching more. I'm interested in seeing where this one goes. It looks cute enough, but cute enough for a big recommendation? No. Cute enough to watch another episode of, at least. This one's airing over at Funimation. And finally this season, we have Love of Kill, an anime about an assassin and a bounty hunter. The bounty hunter Chateau is a cool, almost saber-like character. It doesn't really speak much, just goes about her business, getting a job done. Relatively new to a bounty hunting world, but she's good at her job. But in doing a job, it finds her fighting off and coming face to face with the most powerful assassin, Song Myung-ha, who is basically known to kill bounty hunters. But unlike killing most bounty hunters, he sees something in Chateau and decides, you know what, I'm not going to kill her. I'm going to stalk her super creepily instead. I'm going to take her mobile number by force during this battle, let her go, and just abuse her via phone spam and stalking her and blackmail every single time. I'm not going to let her do a job. I'm going to capture other bounties for her and blackmail her into spending time with me in order for her to be given the bounties. Now you might think this is a cute premise where an assassin turns bounty hunter helping the bounty hunter he's fallen in love with, but really? In most scenarios this would just be seen as abuse and stalking. It's an unhealthy relationship with an unhealthy job. It really doesn't help that I've just read the name of the main character. Her name is actually Chateau Dankworth, which doesn't sound like a main character. It sounds like a really dank place to go party. Chateau Dankworth. You got another couple of characters, the owner of the bounty hunting firm which Chateau works for, and his assistant, who just seems to be a jokey character with an accent. This is not a great show, to be honest with yourself. It's creepy, it's got a creepy plot, and the main character doesn't make up. I really don't recommend watching Love and Kill. It's good if you like bounty hunters, but that's about it really. If you did want to watch this one's airing over at Crunchyroll. Rounding out the season, we have The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt, Life of an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout, She Professed Herself Pupil of a Wise Man, and Love of Kill. 3 of those anime have padded out this ending too long, so I'll just say goodbye. Goodbye.